Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm your host. Call me Captain Brown Pants, because I'm wearing my khakis. What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's a beautiful, lovely, pouring down rain, ice cold Monday out here in the Pacific Northwest. I hope you're all feeling strong. Hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling fresh. And I hope things are going well for you. We got to give a shout-out to Big D Smoke for going all the way to Chicago, coming all the way back, and then now he's in quarantine. Shout-out to Dennis. What's up, my guy? And shout-out to whoever was first in the chat today. Pipex, first in the chat from north of my location. I will say that. I know Pipex is in Washington State also. He mentioned it the other day. So, welcome to the rain. The rain, it be coming down. Mikey Fishy, second to the chat. Sorry. Alyssa Bentley, Paulette, Dave's Aquariums, Frank Dominguez, Michael Sarr, Emma Pickery, Big D Smoke, Brian P., Joel G., Johannes Martinson, Myrtle Singh, Fish Guy 420, Rico Stan. Did I miss? I don't know. I'm going to scroll down here and catch up on the chat. I see Ginger. I see Steve. I see Janice. I see Largemouth. I see Donald's Fish Vibes. I see Daniel Velez. All right, and then a whole bunch of people here. Okay, yeah, shout out. If I missed you, it's not on purpose. I didn't mean to miss anybody. I just scrolled down to the bottom here, but it is Monday. Janice says hit the like button. We're supposed to hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hit the like button. That's what we're doing. What's up? It's a big thing that we do around here is click buttons on YouTube. You know, what up? Those of you that are not familiar with the format of the show, yes, I am in an aquarium channel, which my edited content will pretty much always be about either building a fish room, maintaining an aquascape, building a fish tank, building a filter, building whatever. You know, it'll all be fish content. The live show here is a little bit loose. We kind of go with current events, all sorts of stuff. So welcome if you are new. If you're not, welcome also, I guess. Right? Is that kind of how it goes? All right. So the addendum is at the beginning of the show. People understand. You all know. You're with me. You with me? You with me? Right? Yeah, you understand. You know what's going on. Today in the fish news, nothing. There's nothing in the fish news today. There never is anything in the fish news. The only thing that ever happens is once in a blue moon, a new product comes out, and every once in a while, scientists identify a new species of fish, which is like, it's almost like, oh, hey, we figured out a different rasbora is not actually a rasbora. So I do try to stay away from air quote fish news content because I don't know if there ever is. And by the way, typically whenever there is any kind of news like that, it's normally related to environmental damage, environmental change, and how humans are affecting that. And it's almost like the most depressing thing to argue with people about climate change and stuff like that on the internet, just because whether we like it or not, the conspiracy theories run rampant. They are highly promoted. And this channel is only promoted by the few members and patronizers and YouTube members that you see down here in the bottom corner, right? We have 100 members. We have 208 patronizers. You could become one too. Oh, I have to update Patreon. Somebody left. I don't know who left. It's a mystery. Well, let me put it this way. It's a mystery to you. But we're down to, back down to 207 patronizers. And a little while ago, somebody asked me, hey, how many members are you supposed to have? And it turns out when you get over 700, that's when it clicks the YouTube alert at YouTube HQ, which stands for headquarters if you're confused, to contact this person. So I think we're members. We're at one of. Oh, I don't like that. Well, let's go / of 700. That's what we're supposed to be at. And of course, it didn't work because I have to make the box bigger. Is that what I have to do? Oh my Lord! This is what happens when I try to do stuff during the show. It's kind of funny. Let me line this back up. Do I have to make this larger? Like Alt? Oh, yeah. That's how we got to do it. We got to hit the Alt button and Control at the same time. Now it's all like weird sized. I don't know if I like the size here. This is just too much. This is just too much. Let's shrink it down. Let's shrink it down, guys. Hey, sometimes we got to get out here with our text, and we got to shrink our text down. And then we slide it back down over here. And now these numbers don't make a lot of sense. We'll have to scoot. Let's give this a little scoot. A scoot patoot. Sometimes we got to scoot our patoot so it makes sense. There we go. Now it makes sense. We're at 100 of 700 potential members. When we hit 700, I'll throw a freaking party. How about that? I'll throw a big social distance coronavirus party, pandemic friendly, where everybody just stays at their house. You know what I'm saying? Phil Emerson says, how about the new reef discovered in the Great Barrier Reef? Ooh, I remember reading about this just a little while ago. Let's see if we can get new reef at the Great Barrier Reef. By the way, people were wondering, one of the things that I've been researching recently in order to have a better understanding of camera lenses like this one right here, all the little pieces of glass inside have these coatings on them, and I literally have been researching the stupid coatings, and I know no one that watches this show is interested in that, so bear with me when I'm like, oh yeah, I remember reading a thing, because I did read a thing. Yeah, on the BBC here, Great Barrier Reef scientists find a reef taller than the Empire State Building. I read this from the BBC. Well, this was actually like only 3 weeks ago or something like that. So at 500 meters, which is 1,600 feet high, to those of you out there that are confused, the reef is taller than the New York's Empire State Building and the Petronas Twin Towers in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Scientists on a 12-month mission found the structure detached from the Great Barrier Reef off Cape York last week. They were conducting 3D mapping of the seafloor in the area, which recently we were having a discussion on the Discord about the lost airline and why it's so difficult to find the lost airline. I think a lot of people forget just how big the ocean is, and we literally have teams out there just trying to map the floor, right? The ocean's big. It's big, bro. I don't know if I don't know if this show is the place to tell you about it, but seriously, the ocean's wicked big, dudes. And by the way, the fact that there aren't a lot of satellites pointed at the ocean is because there's no paying customers there. So remember capitalism when you have these questions. Okay. A team aboard a research vessel owned by the Schmidt Ocean Institute. Never really heard of them. A nonprofit group based in California. So we literally have to have nonprofit groups go around to map the ocean floor. Used an underwater robot to explore the reef known as Sebastian. The robot live streamed the video of the discovery on Sunday and posted it to YouTube. So you guys could find the YouTube video. I don't have a link to it, so I'm not going to give you the link because there doesn't appear to be one embedded in this anyhow. So I can't even pull up the script and copy the URL for you. So you'll have to just look it up yourselves at some other point in time. Hey, don't leave the show to go watch it. But it's not my video, so I can't play it on the stream. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to play some music last time, and people got mad. I tried to play some quiet music in the background, and people didn't seem to like it. But I wonder. I'm gonna go like this. There we go. Hold on, let me try the mix. I tried this mixer last week. It didn't really work out very well. What am I playing? Hold on. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna turn it way down like that. Well, that's like intense. I don't know. We'll see if that plays quietly. Does it continue to play? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, at the very least, you guys can just hear a little bit of music in the background. Tell me if it's too loud in a minute. Oh, I have it on once. Let's go forever. All right, forever. Loop forever. See, that's playing like pretty quietly on my end, but I don't know how it sounds on your end. We'll see. We'll see what people say. Like via my little jammer here, it says that I'm playing it pretty quiet, but who knows? We'll find out. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. I like to have a little music playing in the background while I'm reading articles off to you guys because it just feels a little more natural. You know what I mean? It feels a little more natural to me, like we would be at a place where some music would be playing. We'll see. Pipex interjecting here real quick. Lockdown for Washington starts tomorrow. I believe it starts. It starts today, the 16th, right? I believe it starts today. I'm not 100% sure. But as we know, they're locking down a lot of just public business spaces. We have an incredible, we have an incredible amount of, spread going on here in the, in Washington State, and currently our governor is implementing some new restrictions to kind of cool it out, you know? Yeah, I think my problem is, like, one of these days I'm going to have to stream privately and figure out the audio settings on that kind of stuff, but I don't know if it's too loud. Let me see. I'm going to literally look it up myself. I'm going to see. In Washington State, and currently our governor is implementing some new restrictions to kind of cool it out, you know? Yeah, I think my problem is, like, one of these days I'm going to have to stream. All right. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit more. All right, there we go. Okay. Either way. Yeah, so we'll see how it works out over time here, guys. It's a work in progress. We're out here just being a work in progress, and that's how we go. All right, anyhow, so to find a new half-kilometer tall reef in the offshore Cape York area of the well-organized Great Barrier Reef shows how mysterious the world is just beyond our coastline, said the SOI Institute Executive Director, Dr. Virmani. Yeah, I think that's right. Powerful combination of mapping data and underwater imagery will be used to understand this new reef and its role within the incredible Great Barrier Reef World Heritage Area. Stretching recent years, study publish. Lost more than half of its coral since 1995 due to warmer seas driven by climate change. Yep. Oh, by the way, if people are confused, by climate change and things that are going on right now, you'd want to look up is not jump YouTube channel on climate change. Climate change. There. And it's probably like an hour-long video or whatnot of a guy who actually is a scientist. I mean, he literally is, I think, some form of scientist. I don't want to say I know what his degrees are because I didn't get them myself. But he is a scientist that does YouTube videos about video games. It's really engaging video, and it really explains the intricacies of what is going on. Because we commonly hear from people that are like, well, climate change just normally happens, and that's just a normal process. And the reality is that this isn't normal. Like, this isn't normal for the Earth, except for when it gets, like, hit by meteors and stuff, which I don't think any of us wants to try to live through. I don't think that's going to happen in a good way for any of us to deal with. We got a super chat, which will take us away from the Barrier Reef article. This is all pretty basic stuff as far as this article goes anyhow, so we might as well let you guys kind of research that a little bit, and we'll see what comes out over the next year in regards to this colossal new coral reef finding. We'll see what happens. Clint McLaughlin says, what are thoughts on using an O2 emitter in a heavily planted aquarium? My thoughts on that are there really isn't any kind of need for an O2 emitter. Let me see. I'm trying to think how much emitter. I'm trying to think of like how much the cost is on what would be considered like an. Let me see. O2. Yeah, because it's been a while since I've done anything as far as like O2 emitters go, because the reality is for me, like, not only do the plants produce oxygen, but also like there's lots of oxygen in our air, you know. So I think as far as an aquarium goes, like an O2 emitter is just an air pump and a stone. That is going to be your best bet. So typically how I do that with my aquariums is, and I wonder if I could get, do I have an app? I need to get an app that I can draw in on the screen. I was looking into this a while ago, and I have forgotten that, let me see here. Let me think. Let me get my drawing out here, because I think I have a drawing tool. Add source. It's not screen capture. It's not monitor capture. I do have a way to like write on the screen. Do I remember what it is though? General widgets. Image slide cover. I think it's whiteboard. Let's open the whiteboard. Whoa! Let's go freehand. color. What would stand out pretty well? Let's go like this. Okay. All right. So we start drawing, and then we can erase it. Like, I forget how I erase. Effects. Whiteboard. What happened? It tells me on the thing how to do it. Press D to save current drawing. Escape to clear whiteboard. Oh, okay. Escape. Oh, and cool. That doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the way I run my systems, let's just draw with the mouse, which I am terrible with, and I don't have a pen. So let's say that this space up here is my fish tank, right? Let's get a color, and we'll just go like this. Fish tank. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Let's grab another color, and we will draw the sump. Let's make the sump red. Okay. No, let's not make the sump red. Let's just make it the same color. Let's go green. Ew, that's like olive green. We don't want that. We want like a good... Yeah, there we go. Solid green. Sump. Right? Okay. So now we've got... Wait, where's the arrow? We need the arrow. There we go. I can't move the arrow. Oh, no. Okay, I have to disengage the whiteboard to move the arrow. Boy, howdy. That's not good. Let's move the arrow up here. We'll go back to the whiteboard. We'll make it visible. Ha-ha! Man, we're just killing it today. Look at this. I can draw little dots. Oh, my dudes. Welcome to Technology Land Operation me scribbling on the thing. Okay. Let's go to red. Let's get red. Because we got... This is the direction the water goes down. We don't want to make this clearly an arrow, but I'm not very good at drawing with a mouse. I'm going to be honest. This is the water going up, right? Mouse drawing, not good. Okay, there we go. Water goes down. Water goes up. I can't grab the arrow. Can I? Oh, yeah, I can. All right. This is the water going down. This is the water going up, right? Got it. Let's get our next color. What color shall we make oxygen? Let's make it white. Okay. So this water coming down lands down here, right? And starts and makes a frothy pool. Makes a frothy McFrothyton pool, okay? That's what all these weird little frothy swirls I got going here. Does anybody see these frothy swirls? Cool. This air exchange with the water being mixed right here. And I got to get a different color. What's representative of O2? Blue. Let's call it that. O2. Right? I wish I had like a little plus symbol that I could put there. So this water going down, churns up down here, mixes up with the air, which has a lot of oxygen in it. And I'm going to probably be wrong here when I say 17%. I believe the air is 17% oxygen. Air makeup percentages, I believe, is 17%. Damn, 21%. I was wrong. 78% is nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.93% is argon. Carbon dioxide is way down at 0.04%, right? 400 parts per million. Whereas oxygen is like, what, 21%, so 21 million out of 100 million? No, 21 parts per million. 210,000 parts per million. Jeez Louise, the brains. Get the brain thinkings going on a Monday, right? So this air exchange right here is what I rely on as far as like injecting oxygen back into the water. If there ever is some kind of problem where maybe my CO2 level has gone too high, maybe too much of things have gone completely out of whack, at the very least, I'm going to always have this air mix happening back here. Then over here on this side where the water goes back up into the aquarium, right? This is where, I guess I could just stay with the same color. Let's go like this. Okay. This right here, this chamber, this very last chamber right here is, I need like a pen. CO2. And then I turbulize this area right here in a reactor, right? And then I got to change back to red. Boy, howdy, I got to change back to red. It's very important. This goes back up to the aquarium to where the plants and the fishes and the shrimps live, right? CO2 goes back up. Oh, where's my arrow? Whoops. Drew a red line. Here we go. CO2 enriches right here, goes up into the aquarium, travels through the aquarium, back down. Goes like this, goes like this, goes like this, goes like this, goes round and round. Just does that 24 hours a day. It doesn't stop. This train, it doesn't stop rolling. You know what I'm saying? This train never, ever, ever stops a rolling unless there's a power outage and then nothing works. But ultimately, if there's a power outage and nothing works, I'm most likely going to just lock up the fish room to keep it warm in there. That's going to be my biggest impediment, is maintaining warmth in the room, whereas it is really insulated in there, so if it is whatever temperature, it will take a long time for it to drop. It will eventually drop. But, yeah. All right. Does that make sense? Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully that answered your question. There we go. Clear. Turn off the arrow. Boom. Welcome to Monday. But yeah, so like in the reality is, so like an O2 dissolved oxygen emitter is like $300, right? Whereas I'm just using the pump that I was already using anyhow to move the water around. And that's no cost to me because that's what I was already doing. Because I want to keep my tank warm and stuff. And oxygenated and just the water moving around. So, yeah. If you wanted to add more O2 into your system, just, hold on. Where did it go? I got to get it out of my list here. Ah, crap. It was right there and then it went away. Woo! We don't want diaphragm pumps. We don't like diaphragm air pumps, guys. We like linear piston pumps. And it was like right here, and then it went away, off of my list. Oh, man, I was gonna promote Amazon links because I'm an Amazon affiliate, and you guys might buy something from there because Black Friday and all this stuff coming up. So hopefully you guys go through my link because I made $12 this month, which is a lot. I don't know if you guys know, but $12 is a whole heck of a lot of money. I don't know. Wherever the link went, I don't know. It's in my store. I'd have to go to my store and look it up because it was right there, but then it went away, and that's making it more difficult to find, and it makes the show super boring. Anyhow, right on. Sumps are the coolest from Phil. Yep. Yeah, they are the coolest. In my opinion, it's the best filtration, although there is a lot to be said about hang-on back filtration. There's a lot to be said for canister filtration. They aren't bad. None of them are bad. I just prefer sumps myself the most. I am kind of gearing up to make some changes in the fish room and incorporate some hang-on back filtered aquariums, just mainly so that I can dispel the myth that they're like worse. They aren't necessarily worse. I just think that sumps are better, in my opinion. You just get a lot more benefits out of a sump than you do a hang-on back filter. It's just, in my experience of running a lot of fish tanks and stuff, it's just an overall better way to go. Whew, okay. What's in my shopping cart right now? Light bulbs. That was one thing I wanted to talk about. Dave inspired us to talk about light bulbs, and I'm going to start working on a lighting project for the new fish room setup, which I think some people will be interested in. Some people won't. but some people assuredly will be interested in it. I think it'll be kind of cool. It seems like you guys are talking about vaccinations. Vaccinations should be good. Whoa. Janice Lumberg. What did Janice post that got deleted by the Google moderating team? Whoa, weird. I've never seen that before. The Google moderator team? I don't know what Janice posted something and it got deleted. I don't know what happened there. That wasn't deleted by our moderators. It was apparently deleted by Google, so who knows. Let's see. What are you all talking about in the chat? Well, Clint, hopefully that answers your question. And if it doesn't, then we shall continue answering questions as they come up. But let's see what you all are talking about, because that's generally how I like to engage with the audience, is see what you all are talking about and see if I can share some of my knowledge. Let's see. Donald's Fish Vibe says, I'm now convinced the virus was deliberate and aimed at the president. I don't know what convinced you of that, but that is really weird. Ginger Graves says, please remember there are people with hearing issues and adding music in the background can make it difficult for them to make out your words. It is a good point. It is a good point. That is a good point. I'm going to consider that. We'll think about it. I don't know. I like having some music playing in the background. It just makes it a little bit easier on me. I have tinnitus and hearing issues myself. So I get it, but I like to have music playing. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm just trying it out. We'll see how well it goes. Ginger says, Trump is not the center of the universe, although he seems to think so. Making pandemic just to annoy Trump is honestly ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think it's really unfounded. There's just no evidence pointing towards any of that. That it has anything to do with Trump. I mean, if it had anything to do with Trump, they would have done it 4 years ago. So it's just a little bit wild. Experts are saying, oh, wow, things could be back to normal by 2022. That is not solved. That's right. I mean, even if the vaccine came out today, we're like 6 months, 8 months, 12 months away from any kind of this being resolved. There's just in the United States, there's 340 million people like that. I know it's insanely difficult for people's brains to wrap their mind around, because it's like, to actually count out that many personalities and humans in your head, it's just so easy just to say the number, right? And like 340 million. And it doesn't really impress much. And I know that the human brain doesn't work very well with being able to quantify giant numbers like that. Giant numbers are not absorbed easily by the human brain. Mine included. Every human brain does not do well with those giant numbers. But even just the United States, those numbers alone, vaccinating all these people is going to be insanely difficult. Patrick Polson is crying water eyes. I don't know what that means. Todd Slingerland is wondering, have you experimented with Dr. Novak's BCB baskets in your sump? I have. Okay, so deep sand beds, anoxic filtration has been around for a long, long time. I'm not sure that Dr. Novak invented it. He may have a claim to have invented it. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm not arguing the validity of Dr. Novak or whatnot. I have played with anoxic filtration. I've utilized anoxic filtration. I know lots and lots of people who have utilized anoxic filtration in the reefing hobby. Deep sea beds are not new. Deep sand beds are not a new thing. If you are into saltwater and reefing, you would know that's been around since the 60s, I believe, maybe at the very least the 70s. Deep sand beds, anoxic filtration works. Yes. It is incredibly difficult for the average hobbyist to pull it off, maintain it, and make sure that it is working properly, which is why I've definitely talked about anoxic filtration on many occasions. People have asked me about it on many occasions. It's not something that I recommend to the average hobbyist, okay? And one of the reasons for that is that testing and implementation are more difficult for the average person than most people would expect. They run into a lot of basic maintenance issues. They run into a lot of setup issues, and I think it's a great way to filter certain things like wastewater treatment plants. Fantastic. Anoxic filtration in your whatever you call it, in your septic system. Awesome. It's a lot easier to maintain anoxic filtration in your septic system of your house than it is to maintain in a system with a lot of living critters. Now, are there benefits to it? For sure. But the reality is, are there, in my opinion, more benefits to a basic, oxygen-based bacterial filtration? Yes, I think there's a lot more benefits for the average person in this hobby. Now, more often than not, we see stuff like this come up from, not necessarily Dr. Novak himself or anything like that. It's not any specific thing of him. But like, we've seen a lot of people come up with, these bacterial filtration solutions that like their bacteria media is better than any bacteria media that's ever existed. And you're basically growing bacteria, okay? There are some spots and some methodologies that do work a little bit better, but I've yet to see a media perform in a way that is just like wildly better than another one in any system that doesn't operate well. So that would be my metric of how to filter, or how to measure whether something is working properly or not, is not to measure whether it's working well in a system that is working well. I would like to see an additive or something like that be added to a system that doesn't function properly and suddenly make it work properly or whatever, with actual scientific tests, A, B, C, D, E, blind placebo, all that kind of stuff come into play and go like, see what happened when we added this to this system over time. It just became a healthy system. As we know from a lot of people out there with these like severely closed systems, like a 5-gallon jug ecosystem, that an ecosystem will recover on its own and flourish for periods of time and die back and flourish and die back and flourish and die back as the seasons go on. Sorry, I'm making some little springs while I'm doing the show here, and I lost my... scissors. I don't know where they went, and I don't know if these snips will work or not to cut these springs I'm making. No, that doesn't work. Oh, that's gonna bug me because I like doing something with my hands while I'm... Hold on. All right, found my snips. I had set them over on the table over there. And yoink. There we go. Okay. Anybody's wondering, I'm making little resistor coils. So, anyhow. But, so, my reasoning behind that is going like, if you lay a claim and you don't necessarily have an implementation of a piece of technology within the average system that most people would be able to utilize, it's great that you've figured something out, but you haven't figured out the key point to being able to relate it to the average person. Now, a parallel that I think we could all kind of understand is the hydrogen-powered cars, right? Hydrogen-powered cars have been around for a long time. The technology exists. It works fantastically, but the implementation within our transportation system didn't work. It didn't work because it ran into people having to be able to fill up those tanks. Fill up all those hydrogen tanks and actually still be able to travel around. And it's the same kind of deal with electric cars. As you've noticed, that electric fueling stations are slowly being introduced into the United States. With the United States being so big, the range on those electric cars, until the fueling stations exist, it's not really ever going to work in our system. And anoxic filtration to me is the same kind of deal. So unless you can actually prove that it's something that the average person can put into play, it's sort of just a pipe dream. I do have some anoxic filtration baskets in one of my sumps, but the reality to me is if you just do a deep substrate in your aquarium, typically you're going to see a lot of the benefits of anoxic filtration from just having a deep substrate in the aquarium. And you would definitely be avoiding a lot of the oxygenation that we all realistically want for all of our fish and shrimp and snails and the balance of our aquarium itself. You know, are there benefits? Could I be convinced with evidence and whatnot? Probably. But at this point, I've never seen anything that realistically has worked out for most people. Like I said, I've seen anoxic filtration with the deep sand beds and reefs for a long time, and I just seen so many of the average hobbyists like completely fail their system because they weren't maintaining it properly. And I know that if you just have media in an aquarium that will grow bacteria on it, and it has bacteria growing on it, if you add oxygen and light and all that to your system, the bacteria will continue to exist as long as there's ammonia and whatnot. And even if there isn't ammonia, it will just self-regulate its population, and the bacteria will generally still be there, just in a much lesser capacity of filtration. So that's one of the big reasons why I kind of recommend the things that I recommend and my thought process behind them. Now, yeah, so I think the reality for me is that, like, if something was to come up that was like, oh, here's what super simplifies it, here's what makes it sort of bulletproof, then I would it's probably something I would like make some videos about and help promote and stuff like that. But right now I don't feel confident that it's something that I really would want to promote. And I think there are enough people out there that realize, you know, from what I'm talking about, that there's like a lot of groups out there that try to sell the biological filtration media that somehow works better than all the other biological filtration media, where it's like you need a surface that can consistently grow bacteria on it. That's basically it, right? And if you pull that off, you're probably selling a product that's pretty reasonable. But either way, Captain Weird says, I just got CO2 canister and all that jazz, but even though I'm not using a lot, all my crypts are now melting. I don't know if it's from this or something else. I'm thinking it's the pH swing, but I don't know. Thoughts? Yes, generally speaking, crypts will melt back when you make some kind of change to your water chemistry. Now, if you are adding CO2 to your water, you are changing the water chemistry. Now, it might not be dramatic from what your test results say. The cryptocorini will generally melt back kind of crazy as things change, but just be patient. It's not a big deal. Crypts melt back regularly as things change. It's part of their process of adapting to a newer system. But one of the things that you will notice, they're going to grow back probably a lot healthier, a lot faster if you are adding CO2 to the water column. Ginger says, Google, we can police ourselves. Yeah. Punchy Paint says, I haven't been seeing them do that once in a while. It's something new. Yeah. I don't know what the Google moderator team has anything to do with moderating the live chat, but that's really bizarre. Alyssa Bentley is asking, explain how the sump won't overflow if the power goes out. Hopefully today I can finish the video that explains that so you can actually watch it. The water level in the aquarium will siphon down to a certain point, and it's not enough water to overflow the sump. Does that make sense? And the water stays in the tank. It's still full, right? So there's the overflow water. All the water from the main tank doesn't just go into the sump. It's not like I have a 30-gallon sump over a 120-gallon tank, so 120 gallons just drains into the sump. You would need some way of that water to be being siphoned out of the main tank. So the return, right? The return is where the water goes back up into the tank, sprays water out there, power turns off, right? The water level starts to siphon back down through that hose, gets air in it, stops siphoning. Todd Slingerland says his current project of using an ADA canister filter with a BCB basket as his biofiltration, time will tell. Yeah, that's great, man. I would expect somebody that's a proponent, that's like a heavy proponent of anoxic filtration, will likely do some actual tests. I would say he should be motivated. Like, I don't know what he sells. I think he sells stuff, right? Let's see, aquarium. I think he sells aquarium stuff, right? Let's see. I know there's a lot on. I know there's a lot on of. Yeah, whereas like I don't know, somebody posted in 2017, what's the point of removing nitrates from a planted tank? Plants do that for you on their own. Their nitrates aren't being removed by your plants. Then you are way overstocked with fish or understocked with plants, or something else is missing. So it's kind of one of the weird things is that like anoxic filtration is like super useful in a reef. It's super useful in like a fish-only tank. But a planted tank, like the plants are already doing all of that, right? So I feel like if you're running a healthy planted aquarium, like you're going to get most of the benefits. You're going to get most of the benefits from nitrate filtration already, you know what I mean? So, the plants are going to remove ammonia, ammonium, nitrate, I just don't see the big benefit as far as like a planted tank goes. But I guess it could be helpful if you're like a fish-only person. But I don't know that I really have very much in common with fish-only people, realistically. I just don't. More often than not, I kind of I'm like, yeah, you have a bunch of cichlids in a tank. Cool. They're swimming around, Like I was at the zoo the other day, and I say the other day, like 4 months ago, and they have a giant cichlid tank, which is cool. But, I'm staring at this giant cichlid tank that has really cool fish in it. Really cool African cichlids. Very cool. You actually have all of the scientific names of every single fish that's all in there, so I could talk to Olivia about them, although she doesn't really know anything yet. She's still only 2. that she's a little baby still. She's still 2, but she does understand a lot now. I'm thinking next year she'll probably know everything by next year, realistically. But the whole time I was sitting there thinking, like, yeah, I mean, you could really, like, move those rocks around. You could add some substrate. You could have at least some floating plants and this and that. But that's not their environment. That's not where they're from. Those fish are from sandy bottom, hard water, nothing going on in the lake except the fish. And so, and I've definitely seen a bunch of, African cichlid speaking events and all that kind of stuff. And I definitely do find it interesting, but it's like, I'm like, all right. It's like a Shark Tank, you know what I mean? Like, sharks are cool and everything, but, like, I can't have a shark at my house, so it's sort of just like, all right. Zelf Ernide says, my biggest question is, from what Dr. Novak mentioned, plants prefer to uptake ammonia over nitrate and nitrite. Nitrate takes the most energy for plants to use. Plants will use nitrate during peak photosynthesis. The easiest way to explain that would be like, do you eat your vegetables, right? Do you eat your meat? Do you eat, simple caloric intake, carbohydrates for human beings? It's easier for us to digest. We get more calorie boost. We get a thing going. It takes more calories to burn leafy greens and things. Does that mean that we don't need any of that stuff? Plants require a complex system just like human beings do. They will uptake ammonia at certain times. They will uptake nitrate at certain times. There's a whole lot that plants will uptake, and they need a variety just like everything else. There's not just one thing you can add to your tank. Like I add Easy Green to my tank, but there's a whole bunch of different fertilizers that are in there. Macronutrients, micronutrients, nitrate, all that stuff. Ammonia is easily added to the tank because I have fish. I add fish food, a little bit of waste, that kind of stuff. Boom, done. Bob's your uncle, right? So that's kind of the thing is that like, I have a basic, pretty good understanding of anoxic filtration and everything. I would not say I have a doctorate. I would not say that I have any of that stuff going on. A big part of what I try to communicate with you guys is having attempted things and see how much work goes into it and what the average person is willing to put in to that system, right? I've even seen people with $1 million use the worst plumbing applications I've ever seen because they're like, well, if I just stick this vinyl hose on here, it'll be fine. And then 6 months later, the vinyl hose breaks, and it's a big, giant disaster. Whereas I'm like, if you'd taken the steps to just plumb that properly, it would have lasted for the next 50 years, right? Exact same thing with anoxic filtration is like, you guys could go down this road, give it a try. I've seen lots of people fail relying on it. I've seen reefs completely crash. I've seen people try it in their Planet Aquarium. I've seen them crash. I've seen people try, like, their Wallstad method tanks with just way too much dirt in there and stuff, and I've seen that crash. And does it work? Yeah. I try to give you guys the advice from the experience that I've gathered and the experience that I've gathered from lots of people to try to make it easy for you so you can enjoy the hobby. Now, is that the right way to go? I don't know. I guess I could make things super complicated and then people would be 100% turned off by it or whatnot, but I try to go like, all right, let me try to get this concept to you so that you could go like, oh, I guess it is worthwhile to spend the extra $8 on the proper plumbing piece, put in the proper plumbing piece, glue it all together so that it's solid and doesn't spray water all over the place. One of the reasons that I try to tell people, I'm like, here's the biomedia I use. It's the cheap, I think it's not even made in China anymore. I think now it's made in Malaysia. It's just sintered. It's basically sintered glass. It's like a ceramic. It's super cheap. You can get a bunch of it. You can add it. You can add it to You can add it to your aquarium. Bacteria will grow. And it's going to be an easy way to go. And you're going to add some oxygen to your aquarium. Air. You're going to agitate the water with air, and that will add oxygen to the aquarium. And that's like the easiest way to go. And that's going to be the easiest method that most people will just be able to do. Weedmand is here. Hello, Weedmand. I read your name, and it made me laugh internally. Pipeback says, I don't think plants can uptake nitrites. No, plants can uptake nitrites also. So, yeah, I mean, all that waste that's in the water can be picked up by plants. Plants do a lot of that filtration. It's one of the reasons that I try to, kind of upsell people on adding plants to their aquarium, because it's a more healthful experience. But to me, I'm interested in the ecosystem existing on its own without these kind of wild external modifiers, right? Obviously, adding CO2 is a modifier. Adding a pump to the aquarium is a modifier. Adding a heater to the aquarium is a modifier. Adding light to the aquarium is a modifier. And that's already enough things that I constantly get questions about. Like, if I put this light over my tank, will it grow plants? That is probably the most common question I get, is, if I buy this light and I put it over my tank, will it grow plants? And I'm like, if I'm honest and I actually have the conversation with getting those questions, it's like, what's the light spectrum? Oh, I don't know. Okay, well, can you find out what the light spectrum is? Okay, I found a picture of the light spectrum. It looks like this. Okay, do you know if this actually is the spectrum that plants need? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I want to know if this will grow plants if I stick it over my tank. And it's like, so it's a fairly difficult conversation to have with a lot of people when there's already enough stuff happening, all these elements that people are trying to bring together, and then it's like, well, let's overcomplicate these elements and make them and add more complicated elements that people are trying to monitor, right? How often do people not test their how often do people not test their aquarium water and ask me why their fish are dying, right? That's very common. Constantly get that question. Like, have you tested your water? Well, yeah, my water's fine. I mean, you guys have seen the memes. You guys have seen the memes like, what's up with your water? Is your water good? Do you have good? My water's fine. My water's good. Okay, like, what's your ammonia at? It's good. Don't worry. And I love people. I love having conversations with people. Oh, let's see. What do we got here? Let's see here. What did somebody just... So, like, somebody just commented 36 minutes ago, funny how you brag about it being American, but seemed kind of bummed out, saying it was propagated in parts of Asia. Talking about a plant video from Ludwigia. And yeah, by the way, this is a perfect example of somebody like, oh shit, I just owned the guy. I'm on the internet. Right? I am bummed out that plants are propagated in parts of Asia and not being propagated in parts of the United States, because it's not financially possible in the current economic system that we have developed over the last 100 years to be somebody that is propagating plants in the United States and sell them without some kind of measure of some aspect of free coming into the situation in the U.S., right? And a good example would be like if you buy a plant from, and say an online retailer, right? And it's listed at $7.99. They buy it from a wholesaler that will typically be selling a $7.99 plant for $1.85. The wholesaler will have bought it from the farm for probably 55 cents, marked it up to $1.85, then the store marks it up to $8, right? What I have to explain to people at home is that if you're growing that plant, you need to be able to sell it to the wholesaler or the online retailer at the either 85 cents or what I say, like 55 cents or the $1.85. You're not going to be selling it for the $8 to the person that's reselling it online, right? Same kind of deal when we start talking about like this anoxic filtration project. If it's something that you guys want to work on, 100% go work on it. Like, go figure out if it's something that you can work into your system. The reason that I give the advice that I give, it's not the only way to do it. There are many, many different ecosystems. There are many, many different ways to set up and run your equipment as you can, or as you want. You could set up your tank as a desert if you want. You could set it up as Antarctica if you want. You could set it up as Amazon jungle tank if you want. You know, there's just so many biomes in the world. You could set it up the way that you want. I'm trying to give advice that could be absorbed by the average person that probably only has like 20 minutes a week to work on their thing, right? So as much as I would love to like be able to give like hyper complicated answers like in an edited video, it takes a ton of time to try and like simplify it to the average person. So I try to stick with specific filtration systems that I know that most people could like apply without getting frustrated and just quitting. Because when things die, you know, when the system dies, people get really upset. You know what I mean? Christine Kaiser says, don't plants take up everything in the water? They pretty much will take up just about any kind of waste in the water, realistically. So, yeah, I mean, it just it depends on the load of plants. Like, you might have a tank that just doesn't have enough plant volume in it to be able to uptake and keep the system going no matter what. Or you might not have enough fertilizer for the amount of plants that you have in your aquarium, right? And that's difficult to maintain for the average person that doesn't have a ton of time to contribute to the hobby that they like to do. I think we all know people that have hobbies that they just don't do anymore, right? And my goal is to try and at least make things accessible to the point where people could continue doing a hobby without having to dedicate more time than they have available to it. Let's see here. I ordered some plants and the package got delayed a couple of days and it froze. A lot of it was dead, but I saved what I could. Do you know if I could transition? Do you know of how I could transition to being aquatic since they are damaged? Well, I mean, first and foremost, like if a package like that got damaged, almost every retailer will work with you to either reship or something. So my first thing would be to like contact whoever shipped it to you. If something happened during shipping, most companies have something in place to figure out, you know, how not to lose you as a future customer. So I would check that out first and foremost. My other advice would be like a lot of plants, if they freeze, basically the cell wall, the cell structure gets broken in the plant, right? So a lot of the plants can't recover from that. Sometimes when they get frozen, not all of it gets frozen, and some of it doesn't get completely like shattered frozen wise. So you can actually, you know, warm those plants back up, see if they'll resprout and start growing. That's kind of the best that I can give you, is that like I've seen plants freeze and not get fully frozen and been fine. I've seen plants freeze and all just completely die. So the best thing I can tell you is just to be patient, see if you can't get those plants to resprout and continue growing, and just go that route. But if it all melts away, don't, it's just because it got frozen. I know specifically with Rotala, it takes quite a bit to convert them. I just want to be able to keep as most as I can. I currently just converted some Rotala from some Rotala rotundifolia that was a bit sus, if you know what I'm saying. It was a bit suspicious whether or not it was supposed to be rotundifolia or not. I can't remember now. I think maybe they thought it was something else. I don't know. Either way, I converted the pot. So Aquarium Co-op sells this little pot holder now. That's a great way to convert plants. I almost always just add plant weights to the pot, drop the pot in the tank, and see if I get it to convert. If it's not going to convert that way, it's likely not going to convert anyhow. And that's just a reality of, like, you are rolling the dice sometimes when you're trying to convert a plant to grow underwater, whether or not you actually have a plant that will convert to growing underwater. Phil Emerson says pond sticks for color. The goldfish are growing, so there is that. Oh, Phil's saying he can't grow duckweed. Is that what happened? Phil says I can't even grow duckweed. These light bulbs right here. Put some duckweed in a tank. Let me make sure I got the right one. Yeah. Duckweed in a bucket. Not with an air stone or anything like that, but just put some duckweed in a bucket, add a little fertilizer, and add these light bulbs right here. You'll be fine. I did mention earlier in the show I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I'm mentioning it now in case the Federal Trade Commission thinks that I'm trying to accidentally get you guys to order things off Amazon. I am an affiliate. I will make a commission. It won't change the price of whatever it is you're buying. If cookies are enabled on your browser, then it'll be fine. Doesn't matter what you order. Just go to Amazon and buy a bunch of groceries. Somebody bought groceries earlier this month, and thank you. I appreciate it. But just remember, you might accidentally click on a link. Some that you see is like, oh my God, look at this story. This is crazy. A dog did the thing. And you'll likely end up with a cookie in your browser, and those people will get the commission. So that's how that works. People wonder why companies put money into making those kinds of things and posting them up like on Facebook. That's why. Green Man, a guy I know offered me a bunch of tanks. They're basically 170-gallon low boys used for corals. I was thinking of getting one and using it as a Planet Aquascape tank. Thoughts? Yes, fantastic. 100% do that. I have had a bunch of big-ass, shallow low boy tanks for plants. 100% recommend it. I used to build them, too. I sold them before I moved down here because I didn't want to move them because they were made out of glass. And I didn't want to have any more glass tanks. But now I have some glass tanks I'm working on again. So maybe I'll build some of them at some point. But yeah, wherever those tanks are, if they're near to me, let me know. I'd probably buy one. Chances are I would probably buy one. Let's see here. Jeremy Salazar says, how do I get rid of staghorn without CO2? Have lots of flow lights on a timer for 8 hours. Use Easy Green and keep in 20 to 40 parts per million. I think realistically where you're at right now with staghorn popping up, you probably have your lights are probably too close to whatever object that it's growing on, which is typically rocks. I normally see staghorn showing up on rocks and driftwood and stuff like that. But yeah, I would definitely dial the light back. I would dial it back to 6 hours, maybe even 5 hours, or even just move the light fixture itself further from the objects that it's getting so much direct light. He has 2 racks that are 3 tanks tall and 4 Lowe's tanks. with stands all pre-drilled. Yeah, I'd want those. If you're anywhere near Washington, I would want those. Yeah, Phil, you're welcome for the bulb link. Those lights, simple LED, screw into a fixture, nothing crazy fancy about it, nothing confusing about it. It's all something that we could all handle. And, you know, chances are you might have some water chemistry thing going on, but I would just try an $8 fix, like a bucket of your water with some duckweed in it and that light shining on it, and just see if it'll grow. You might need to have a little water pump in there that just kind of moves water around just a little bit, but duckweed doesn't like heavy agitation, so don't put a air stone or anything like in there if you were trying to grow that. We have 900 million people watching the show today. That's intense, dude. I guess hit the like button or something. I don't know. Or become a member, like down here. We're 600 away from our goal. Let me see. What do I got going on here? Oh, I got a tracking number headed my way. Cool. Let's see. Is a special duckweed from Pam, so I don't want to see it all die all the way. Yeah. All right. Yeah, don't let it die. Keep that special duckweed. You know what I'm talking about. Zelfer Knight says, "Hey Joel, I just wanted to mention I really liked your plant profile playlist. I've been watching through it. Really like the format and camera shots of the plants." Yeah, I'm trying to definitely make more of those videos. This whole pandemic here has definitely got my schedule all up in a tizzy, and you know, we lost probably. I don't even want to talk about it, but we lost probably. I think the last time I did the math, we lost 68% of our financial support for the channel in order to have time to produce videos, which is just a kick in the pants, isn't it? Mainly because of just the pandemic stuff, and so just working as much as I can to try and catch back up and get to a point where I have more time to produce content. But yeah, I definitely plan to make more plant profile videos, and I have some of the video shot for some of the other ones, and we'll see if we can't get some more out to you. Green Man says he said I could get one for $300 or all of them for $1,900. I think I have to go to his place and do some measuring and see what can fit. Yeah, I would definitely go check it out. Phil says I'm looking for proper aquarium lights for the tanks themselves. It is well, I mean, as far as proper aquarium lights go, I think my favorite one is the Fluval 3.0. Phoenix makes some good ones, but there's just so many out there now. It pretty much just comes up to your budget and what it is that you're looking from the light itself. You know, like, do you need a Bluetooth app, or do you just want it to hook up to a timer? You know, all that kind of stuff. It's the bells and whistles. You know, do you need AC in your car? Do you need heated seats? You're probably going to be looking at a higher-end car. If you don't care about any of that, you might just get a 1978 wagon or something. I don't know. Scrolling. Ginger Graves. Pfizer did a 30,000 person trial and found their vaccine to be about 95% effective in the group that they tested. Yeah, Pfizer has that going on. And I'm waiting. Just like you guys are, I'm waiting on the vaccine stuff. We shall see. Twin Star is a pogger. Twin Stars are nice. I have one, but they don't have the built-in apps and stuff, which I sort of expect now. I sort of expect that now. Space isn't the issue. I'm in... Let's see. Space isn't the issue. I am renting to a hinge old farmhouse with my dad, so I could easily fit them all. It's more maintenance. I already have a 600-gallon and a 200-gallon tank running at the moment. I want to hang out with your 600-gallon tank, dude. Let me scroll back up here. All right. I like that. That's funny in the chat there. All right. I don't know. Let's see. Viewer activity of the day. Clint McLaughlin, you are our pogger of the day with a $5 super chat. That's all that came in today. Oh, man, we got like an influx of people watching at like 1 o'clock. Must be people's lunch break or something. Who knows? But yeah, seems like everybody's kind of winding down for the today. And it's 1:20, which means I could probably go do something else, I guess. I don't know. Seems like the topics have wound down. Maybe I'll just listen to a song for a minute. Yeah, I think maybe I'll do that. Let's change the I'm gonna change the jams here. Let's see. That's not a music. Is this a music? That's a music. Oh yeah. This one's louder. But yeah, I'll be right back. I have to run upstairs and go to the bathroom. Was that playing? It stopped playing. What happened? Or I think I only have it played once. Whoa! Did we get any new questions in here? Somebody posted in there, and then they retracted it. Deb D. Hall, message retracted. Oh. Oh, I should turn this down. Right? Have to click the button. Ah, it's this. This is the button that drops the mix down. That's how it does it. Yeah, that's how this mixer likes it. This mixer likes it when you open the actual audio track itself and then go in there. Okay, all right, that's how it likes to do it. All right. Let's see. Let's what did people post while I was gone? I had to go pee and wash my hands, dudes. Mike Kinza, thanks for the great entertainment during this global apocalypse. You're welcome. Thanks for all you guys' support. Looking for a source for Shouted In Eye Puffer. You're looking for Preston John. Look up Preston John on Instagram, and you'll find him. If you look up Shouted In Eye Puffer on Instagram, you'll find Preston, and he breeds them. It's where I got mine. If you're in the U.S., there's some company, I can't remember the name, but there's some company that he basically transfers them to those guys, and they ship them out for him. They get them ready. And then whatnot. Bob Howie says, just got home from work, 420 over there. Okay, got it. So, I guess I have like a lot of people that smoke weed that follow my channel, I guess, which is fine. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm sober, but that's doesn't bother me. You gotta do what you like. All right. You can dump a ton of ammonia if it has sat there for too long. Steve, I turned off my hang-on back filter last night. Should I chance turning it back on, or have I likely killed the bacteria residing with? If you turned it off last night, it's probably fine. Just turn it back on. Zelf Ernaid is asking, when you are replanting, is it necessary to shorten the roots? It's not necessary, but it's just like planting in your garden. You might as well trim them and make your life a little bit easier. And typically it does spur a little extra root growth, from the plant. Just like when you trim your lawn, it starts growing more. Kind of deal. All right. I took a break to see if you guys were going to type in more questions, and I didn't really do too much. So anyhow, that's it for Monday.